Hi and Assalamualaikum. My group will be presenting a last subtopic of supply chain management for Seminar 1, which is value chain analysis. Before I proceed with the presentation, let me introduce my group member first. The first presenter will be me, Nur Farhana, and the second presenter is Nur Karina, followed by Nur Izzati, and the last presenter will be Nur Afifah. Okay, here are the contents of our presentation. Firstly, we will discuss about the introduction of the value chain analysis containing of definition, objective, primary activities, support activities, and also competitive advantages. And then there will be three approaches of value chain analysis. And then there will be advantages and disadvantages of value chain analysis. And the last one is challenges and management accounting role in implementing a value chain analysis. Okay, on the introduction, I will explain about the definition and objectives of value chain analysis, and then I will explain more about what is primary activities and the support activities and competitive advantage will be explained by Nur Khairina. Okay, what is the value chain analysis? Value chain analysis is a strategy analysis of an organization that uses value creating activities. Creating value can be defined as to design, produce, market, deliver, and support its product. The idea of value chain was first suggested by Michael Porter to depict how customer value accumulates along a chain of activities that lead to an end product or service. Porter also highlights there are two different categories of activities, which are primary activities and support activities. Alright, we moving on to the objective of value chain analysis. The first one, it enables to break down company logistics, operations, and infrastructure to reveal the true value of product or service. Second, it helps a company to discern areas of its business that are inefficient, then implement strategies that will optimize its procedure for maximum efficiency and profitability. Next, to ensure the product mechanics are seamless and efficient, it is critical that business keep customer feeling confident and secure enough to remain loyal. And the second last one is to deliver the most for the least cost in order to create a competitive advantage. And the last objective is it will evaluate primary and secondary business function and identify ways to improve efficiency, increase value, and stand out from the crowd. Okay, I will explain about the primary activities. Under primary activities, there are 5 items that we need to be remembered. The first one is inbound logistics. It involves relationship with suppliers. It refers to the tasks and activities that business need to complete in order to operate. For example, sourcing of raw material input such as glass, wiring, and metal. The second one is operation. It is a process of producing input to the final products. A business need to have an efficient plan operation to minimize costs incurred. The third one is outbound logistics. It refers to the tasks and activities involved with moving the product to the end user. For example, wholesalers or dealers that handle order processing and distribution. The fourth one is marketing and sales. It activities to inform buyers about product and services, induces buyers to purchase them, and facilitate their purchase. The businesses need to have a creative approaches to promote and advertise product to the customers. And the last one is services. Activities required to keep product or service working effectively for the buyer after it is sold delivered. For example, installation, repair and maintenance of a product or services. So, I will pass to the next presenter for the explanation of support activities, which is Khairina.
Thank you, Nur Farhana. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my lecturer and my fellow friends. My name is Nur Khairina binti Khairul Zafwan. I will continue the presentation with the sport activities. For your information, primary activities can be more efficient with the use of support activities. An increase in any one of the 4 support activities aids at least one primary activity to work more productively. The infrastructure, or also known as general administration, support the entire value chain and not individuals' activities. It involves processes like assurance, quality, public relations, control, finance, legal, accounting, and strategic or general management. The human resource management supports both the individual primary and support activities, such as hiring of scientists and engineers, and also the entire value chain. For example, the negotiation with labor unions. It is made up of many activities such as compensating, developing, training, hiring, and recruiting. If needed, it also involves the dismissing of employees too. So, the technology development activities associated with the new development of the new knowledge that is applied to the firm's operation. So, the keyword here is new. It comprises of technical knowledge, procedures, software, hardware, and also equipment. The acquisition of goods, services, and works from an external source is procurement. Decisions pertaining to purchase are also made under this field. For example, McDonald's procured from McLean, Tesla procured battery from Panasonic, and Facebook profited by buying Jiffy to be used to Instagram. As you can see in the diagram, Porter's value chain focuses on systems and how inputs are changed into the outputs purchased by consumers using primary and support activities. The perfect example for value chain service is McDonald's. It is an American hamburger and fast food restaurant chain. In 1940, the first McDonald's restaurant was opened by Richard and Maurice McDonald. Now, I will explain about competitive advantage. The objective is to analyze competitive advantage by disintegrating an organization into discrete activities or processes and examine how each activity contributes to the organization's relative cost position or the customer's comparative willingness to pay. So, what is competitive advantage? It is an ability for a firm to put generic strategy into practice. For example, cost leadership advantage and also differentiation advantage. Alright, let's move to the next point. This is Porter's generic strategy. As you can see in the picture, Michael Porter is a professor from Harvard Business School. He argues that a firm's strength ultimately falls on 2 headings, which are differentiation and low cost or cost leadership advantage. So for the differentiation, the customers believe that the product offering of a product line is of higher quality, involves fewer risks, or outperforms competitive product offerings. The management may exploit the advantage with 2 ways. The first way is to increase price until it offsets the improvement in customers' benefit, thus maintaining current market share, or it will decrease the price below the premium full level in order to build market share. For the low cost, The offering products and services at the most competitive prices in the industry or market, but without compromising quality and customer satisfaction. The production activities is as efficient as possible using low-cost raw materials and leveraging economies of scale to reduce the price of their products or services. So here we have Apple, for example, of differentiation. So why Apple is different for others? Because Apple has its own operating system, which is iOS, and not same with others such as Samsung, Nokia, Huawei, and others. And it also shares the iPhone, MacBook, and AirPods, so it created uniqueness to their brand, and that is why it sells at premium price. And we also have McDonald's, for example, of cost leadership. I have mentioned earlier that McD has two generic strategies that they are practicing in the company, which is primary and support activities. The primary activity is cost leadership and the support activity is differentiation. So we can apply both strategy for McDonald's. For the primary activity, it is proven that McD produce low-cost food by minimizing its cost of production. So next, I will pass the presentation to Nur Izzati.
My name is Nizati Binti Aziz Kamil. I will explain on the value chain approach for assessing competitive advantage. Companies use the value chain approach to better understand which segments, distribution channels, price points, product differentiation, selling proposition, and value chain configuration will yield them the greatest competitive advantage. The way that the value chain approach helps organizations assess competitive advantage is through the following types of analysis, which are internal cost analysis, internal differentiation analysis, and vertical linkage analysis. The first type of analysis is internal cost analysis. Organizations use the value chain approach to identify sources of profitability and to understand the cost of their internal processes or activities. The principal steps of internal cost analysis are: the first one is identify the firm's value creating processes. All the activities that are undertaken to produce goods or services have to be clearly identified and separated from each other. This requires an adequate knowledge of company's operation because value chain activities are not organized in the same way as the company itself. The managers who identify value chain activities have to look into how work is done to deliver customer value. Second, determine the portion of the total cost of the product or service attributable to each value creating process. The total cost of producing a product or service must be broken down and assigned to each activity. Activity-based costing is used to calculate costs for each process. Activities that are the major sources of cost or done inefficiently must be addressed first. Third, identify the cost drivers for each process. Only by understanding what factors drive the cost, managers can focus on improving them. Cost for labor-intensive activities will be driven by work hours, work speed, or wage rate. Different activities will have different cost drivers. Fourth, identify the links between processes. Reduction of cost in one activity may lead to further cost reduction in subsequent activities. For example, fewer components in the product design may lead to less faulty parts and lower service costs. Therefore, identifying the links between activities will lead to better understanding how cost improvements will affect the whole value chain. Sometimes, cost reductions in one activity lead to higher costs for other activities. Last but not least, evaluate the opportunities for achieving relative cost advantage. When the company knows its inefficient activities and cost drivers, it can plan on how to improve them. Too high wage rates can be dealt with by increasing production speed, outsourcing jobs to low-wage countries, or installing more automated processes. The second type of analysis is internal differentiation analysis. The value chain approach is also used by organizations to identify opportunities for creating and sustaining superior differentiation. In this situation, the primary focus is on the customer's perceived value of the products and services. As with internal cost analysis, internal differentiation analysis requires firms to first identify their value-creating processes and primary cost drivers. Internal differentiation analysis using the following guidelines. The first one is identify the customer's value-creating processes. After identifying all value chain activities, managers have to focus on those activities that contribute the most to creating customer value. For example, Apple product success mainly comes not from great product features only, but from successful marketing activities too. Second, evaluate differentiation strategies for enhancing customer value. Managers can use the following strategies to increase product differentiation and customer value, which are add more product features, focus on customer service and responsiveness, increase customization, and also offer complementary products. The third one is determine the best suitable differentiation and strategies. Usually, superior differentiation and customer value will be the result of many interrelated activities and strategies used. The best combination of them should be used to pursue sustainable differentiation advantage. The last type of analysis is vertical linkage analysis. It is a much broader application of internal cost and differentiation analysis that includes all upstream and downstream value-creating processes throughout the industry. It considers all links from the source of materials to the disposal or recycling of the product. It can reveal which activities are the most and least critical to competitive advantage or disadvantage. Vertical linkage analysis includes the following steps. The first one is identify the industry value chain and assign cost, revenue, and assets to value-creating processes. Since vertical linkage can be complex and intangible, they are often overlooked by organizations. For example, the petroleum industry consists of numerous value-linked processes or activities including exploration, production, refining, marketing, and distribution. These processes define the value chain for this industry. Second, diagnose the cost drivers for each value-creating process. Traditional management or cost accounting system often assign costs by using a single output measure of operating activity, such as output value. For vertical linkage analysis, a single measure is inadequate to capture the underlying cost categories. The third one is evaluate the opportunities for sustainable competitive advantage. By nature, competitive advantage is relative. In an ideal world, a firm can gauge its competitive position by knowing its competitors' value chains and the rate of return on each in reality. However, this may be rather difficult. Okay, the competitor's internal cost, revenue, and asset data for its process are generally unavailable. Sufficient qualitative information usually exists on a firm's major value-creating processes and the strategies for each. By understanding how other companies compete in each process of the industry value chain, a firm can use the qualitative analysis to seek out competitive niches even if financial data are unavailable.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Afifa and I will proceed with the advantage and disadvantage of the value chain analysis. So, the first advantage of the value chain analysis is the low cost advantage. The value chain analysis will enable the organization to identify the profitable value creating activities and those which are not. By assessing the value creating activities, the organization can establish the cost driver of each process. This will then allow the implementation of the cost improvement strategies while does not lower the customer value. The organizations will then be able to identify the area with the lower cost. Next advantage is the differentiations. Through value chain analysis, the organization can compare its activities with its competitors. But through the comparison actions with the competitors, the organizations will focus on the customer perceived value of the product and its process and its service. Evaluate the differentiation strategies for enhancing the customer value. The last advantage is the identification of core competencies and activities. Through value chain analysis, the organizations can identify those value generating activities and their cost driver. And the organization will not waste their time in the activities that does not generate any value. The disadvantage of the value chain analysis. First is the non-availability of data. Internal data on cost, revenue, and asset used for value chain analysis are derived from financial information of a single period. For long-term strategic decision making, changes in cost structure, market prices, and capital investment, etc., may not be readily available. Next is the identification of stages. Identifying stages in an industry's value chain is limited by the ability to locate at least one firm that participates in a specific stages. When an outside firm does not complete in these stages, dividing a value stage into two or more stages is strictly a matter of judgment. Next is the ascertainment of cost, revenue, and assets. Finding the cost, revenue, and assets for each value chain activity give rise to serious difficulties. There is no scientific approach and much depends upon trial and error and experimentation methods. The last disadvantage is the resistance from employees. The value chain analysis is not easily understandable to the employee and thus will face the resistance of the employees as well as the manager. I will now proceed with the challenge and the role of management accountant in implementing the value chain analysis. So, what is the challenge and what is the role of the management accountant in implementing the value chain analysis in a company? The first challenge is in implementing the value chain analysis, it will demand a great external information. So, the management accountant must seek a relevant financial and non-financial from source outside the organization, as the value chain analysis will require expertise in internal and external information. The next challenge is the information technology, even though it is improving daily, but the existing information system is slow to change. So, what should the management accountant do when facing this challenge? The management accountant needs to solicit support from all senior managers in the company for allocating resources to develop and improve value chain oriented information system. The next is a value chain analysis will require cooperation of all managers involved in value chain process, and the leadership of a CEO is vital to successful cooperation of all managers. The management the management accountant should ensure that the CEO is committed to value chain analysis, as the organizational changes is necessary for its successful implementation. The last is how to bring importance of customer value to the forefront of management strategic thinking. The management accountant should take the initiative to bring the value chain message to major players in the firms. Seminar, articles, and value chain examples and company-specific applications are useful to illustrate the advantage of value chain analysis. That is all from our group. Thank you.